Hey folks, welcome to the Do It Yourself Dad channel and welcome to my garage or my shop or whatever you call yours. So today I'm going to be showing you some things that you can do to make your garage or shop more comfortable in the summertime and in the wintertime. Now, usually if you're in a house like this, we've just got exposed rafters up there and there's not a lot of insulation. So the garage or the shop is usually the last thing that people really think about when keeping it comfortable. But we've got a lot of projects going on in here and more over there. We've got stuff kind of everywhere. And as we do this, I'll kind of show you what we've got going on in the garage. But I want to show you what we've done and how we've done it on the cheap, something that you can do in a weekend to make your shop a little bit more comfortable year-round. Now, everything today that we're going to be talking about, you can pick up at your local hardware store, but you can also check out the stuff in the description below. I've got links to everything in case you want to check them out or order it online. And also, I'm in the garage right now, and usually the Supra is sitting kind of right where I'm standing. It's in the driveway right now, but I am moving a lot of the automotive content from this channel over to my other channel, the car DIY channel. So if you're interested in automotive stuff, be sure to head over there and subscribe to that one. I've got a link for that down in the description below as well. Let's get to it. Now, the first thing to think about is insulation. We've got insulation on the door and we've got insulation up there along the ceiling. So let's talk about the door first. Now, a lot of garage doors are not insulated. You want to check yours and see if it is. Now, these roll-up doors here, they have these bays. And in between each bay, there is either an air gap or there's nothing or there's foam. Now, my door was one of the least expensive options when we had it put in because we put it in right when we bought the house and had no money to spend. So later on, I came in here with insulation. I have a whole video on how to install this. You can do this whole thing for just a couple bucks and it makes a huge difference. If you're ever out in your garage in the summertime, go ahead and put your hand against your garage door when the sun's hitting it. You might burn yourself. So actually don't do that. Now in the wintertime, same thing. Put your hand against it. It will be so cold. You might even see condensation forming on it because of how cold it is, depending on what climate you're in. This makes a humongous difference. When you think about the size of a garage door and how much radiant heat is coming off that door, or cold, how much heat you're losing through that door, it's massive. And this is something you can do either by yourself or there's kits. But I've got a link to my video on how to do all this, and you can knock this job out in probably about an hour for just a couple bucks. Now moving upstairs, or I guess it's upstairs, here I have an upstairs. I've got a little loft. You can see I got RC planes and all sorts of junk up there. But I have this. This is Reflectix, or reflective insulation. There's a bunch of names it goes by. But what this stuff is, it goes in between your bays. And I'm going to show you real quick. This is how it kind of looks when you put it in there. You can put it in there as one layer, or you can put it in there as two layer. But what it does is it forms an air gap and helps prevent that heat. You know, you got the sun beating down on your roof, and it helps that heat from making it into your garage. It makes a humongous difference between how hot and how cold your garage gets in the summer and winter time. Now, one more thing to consider, and I don't know how well you can see that, is I have one of those turbine vents on my roof. Now, those are great for pulling out hot air, but what those do cause problems with is in the wintertime, if you're trying to heat up your garage, all that hot air is going right out the roof. So if you look at it from a different angle, you'll notice I have a little door there, and then I have a rope that comes all the way over to my cabinet here. And let me show you what that does. Now, when I pull the rope, it closes that door, and then I can tie the rope off to my cabinet. That keeps all of the hot air inside the garage and lets none of it escape. Now, in the summertime, when I want that hot air to escape, I can open it right back up and all that hot air goes out. But once I turn on my air conditioner, and I'm going to get to that part in just a second, once the garage is being air conditioned, I don't want to let the air out. I can close it right back up. So it's very easy. You do see some people, they put those little hoods over their things on the outside, and those are great, but you got to go up on your roof to deal with those. This is something that I can just, with a rope, open, close, open, close, open, close, as much as I need. And that was as simple as building a little box around it, putting a hinge on it, and running a rope. So it's a real simple thing, another thing you can knock out real quick in an afternoon. So now that we've talked about insulation and keeping the heat in or getting the heat out, let's talk about things like how to cool the air inside your garage. Now, I would recommend doing all the insulation first before you jump into these, but there's two options. Right here, I've got what would be considered an evaporative cooler or a swamp cooler. And over here on the other side of the garage, I've got an air conditioner. Now, we do live in the California desert, so sometimes we need to run both of these, but let me tell you about the pros and the cons of each. Now, the nice thing about the swamp cooler here is it is pretty mobile. It's on wheels, and you can see here I can just roll it around. It doesn't have to be hooked to anything other than an electrical outlet. Now the downside to it is it does need dry air, so you do need to be in a dry climate for this thing to work. And let me show you how it works. On the back here, there is a hopper, and that hopper carries water, and you fill that up with water. When you turn it on, it has a pump. It pumps that water up and down this screen here, and it pulls the water through that screen. Think of kind of blowing water through a wet towel. It's kind of the same idea. And as that water evaporates, it cools the air coming out the front. So the pro to this, the couple pros to this is that this is very inexpensive compared to an air conditioner. You can pick these up for about $100. Air conditioners, at least the standalones, are going to cost many times more. The other pro is it uses a lot less electricity than an air conditioner. Now the con, it really only works well in an environment where you don't have a lot of humidity like the desert, and it will increase the humidity in the room that you're working in. Now coming to the other side of the garage, I have my air conditioner. Now this air conditioner actually also has a heater built into it, which is a nice feature, and we're going to talk about heating garages in just a second. But this thing is more expensive than an evaporative cooler or a swamp cooler, but it does do a better job cooling down the air. A evaporative cooler usually gets about 10 degrees drop. These will get much, much more than that. Now another thing to consider, these are more expensive and they do pull more power, and you do have to hook them up a little bit differently. You can see here, it's a little dark back here, but it does have to have an exhaust, and that exhausts the hot air off the coils, and you actually have to run it out of the building or out of your garage. So there's my dump right there. Now the other thing, and if you're used to your car dripping in the driveway, it does that same thing. You will have to run a hose to get the condensation, and right now I just have that thing plumbed up so it runs right out under the door because I only use this during the summertime. Now, like I had mentioned, these things do have a heater built in and they do blow out some hot air, but it's not a ton of hot air. It'll kind of cut it. But if you're in a cold climate, you're going to want something more of a dedicated heater. And I do have that right up here. And this is a new air heater, and I do have a video on how to install one of these things. So check for that down in the description below. But this one actually runs off 220, not 110. And what I did was, instead of hardwiring it in, I actually took the cable here and ran it to where an electric dryer would hook up. So you don't actually need to hardwire this thing into 220. You can run it into a dryer outlet if you have one of those. And with my dryer over here, I'm running gas, so it doesn't matter, but you can just plug and unplug it. So I have that thing, and this does a great job getting the garage nice and hot in the wintertime. So if you've been watching to this point in the video, I thank you for watching to this point in the video, but let me show you a few things that we have had on the channel that are parked out here in the garage. Now over here in the corner, we have our KLR 250. It's kind of a mess over there, but we did a whole motorcycle rebuild you can check out. Then underneath that, we've got an electric bike. I did a whole video about electric bikes. Behind that, I've got a mini bike, and we're going to be doing a whole restore on the mini bike soon. That's going to be on the channel. Coming over here, you can see up here, I've got a old robot. We're going to be doing a robot build soon. I've got the 3D printer over here. I'm printing parts right now because we're actually going to be weaponizing one of those robotic vacuums in an upcoming episode. And then over here, I've got some other stuff. I've got all sorts of RC stuff that have been on the channel. And you notice behind the air conditioner, I had a RO unit. That's for an aquarium we're going to have on the channel. So we've got a lot of awesome content coming your way. So be sure to hit that subscribe button because all that stuff's going to be coming up. So anyway, I hope this video helped you out at all. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what questions you have. Maybe we can help each other out, or maybe our commenters can help each other out. But leave a comment down below, hit that subscribe button for all this other cool stuff we've got going on. Give this video a thumbs up, and of course, thanks for watching.